Ranadive. Mr. Vivek Ranadive is a software engineer located in California. His daughter, who was 12 years old, used to play basketball, and their team always used to lose. And explainably so, because one thing, they used to play basketball as a spare activity. All of them were, none of them was great in height. Their basket rating was much low, and so their failure, or say to say their defeat at the hands of other teams, was quite explainable. Now, at one point of time, his daughter asked him for his help in basketball. He watched the game. He never had played basketball in his life, but he was intrigued by the way the game was being played. There was a half court. One side would go into other court, try to do the basket or basket the ball. If the basket is done, then the whole team would retreat to their half, and the other team would come in to score a basket. This to and fro continued all through the game. And obviously, those teams which were better in basketing the ball, those teams which had got taller players, won. Simple. The more the baskets, the more the score. But this is where Mr. Ranadive started thinking. He thought these people are only defending half the side. Why not defend the whole court? And if we defend the whole court, there would be lesser baskets on our side, and we would get more and more chances on the other side. And based on this logic, he started training his children and their basketball teammates. This is called as full press basketball. The methodology or the process or the technique was already there, but not at all used in any of the top level tournaments. But he started using it at its college level. Now, the interesting part here is that basketing requires skill, but full press or defense requires endurance or stamina, not so much skill. So, in this case, Mr. Vivek Ranadive found a way whereby the constant effort could outdo the skill. Consistent effort, constant effort, and this is the principle of leverage. The longer the lever, the lesser the load that you have to put it at the end of it, but the more distance you got to travel. So, he started increasing the endurance of his daughter's team rather than increasing the basketing skill. And result was devastating for the whole tournament. They were able to cut and slice through the best of the teams, at one time even reaching the semi-final of the nationals, and the other teams were left aghast. Even the referees really did not understand what to do, because all this was as per the rules. He was using effort to outdo the skills, and this is called as full press Ranadive. This story became so famous that even Malcolm Caldwell utilized in his book The David and the Goliath. And this is where our takeaway is that we need to study the issue in detail, and many a places where skill is necessary, that skill can be outdone by consistent efforts of a much lower level. And interestingly, if you see the British wars, especially in India, this was exactly the tactic that they used. Our Indians, we were more concentrated on individual skills, great braves, powerful warriors, strong shiledar. Whereas the Britishers, they looked at all the golandas or barkandas as semi-skilled employees. They would have hundreds of them, and all that they needed was to put ammunition in the rifle or the gun at that point of time and take a shot, and they would do it repeatedly. You didn't need to be a great barkandas. Your aim need not be very great. You had to aim at the crowd and shoot. And the training was minimal. How to load the rifle, how to aim, and how to pull the trigger. So interestingly, if one of their barkandas or tirandas, he failed, he died, doesn't matter, somebody else could replace him. Whereas in our case, a brave who could kill 100 people, if he was seriously injured, if the one who was riding the elephant was seriously injured, the war was over. Because the shortfall would be very high, and also it would take years for that shortfall to be filled up because the training was so rigorous. So we had skill on our side, but the numbers were on the side of the British, and this is the way they won many of the wars. And this is exactly what we also can do in our life. Studying the issues that we face, wherever there is skill, we need to think how can we replace it with consistent effort. To what extent? This requires study, this requires detailing, this requires synthesis, but the exercise, it worth its while. This is ancient wisdom. Namaskar.